The following is a feature presentation of our nation's sports show. The greatest single tournament in the world of sports begins tonight, from the first four all the way to the final four and the national championship game taking place in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. Brackets will be busted, shocking upsets, and game-winning shots will take place. Also, we continue our coverage of the NFL's off-season. The Miami Dolphins' dead cap hell continues. Also, Justin Fields is on the move. He will be the backup quarterback to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. It's showtime.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show.
What's going on, gents and ladies? Happy Tuesday and happy St. Patrick's Day to all you Irish bastards out there, especially if your last names are, well, whatever Seamus' last name is, and Finley. What's going on, everybody? It is our Nation Sports Show. We are live now, and it is going to be a pretty decent show, pretty good show. We got a good amount of NFL action to talk about, trades, more trades, and also we're going to be talking about some signings and a few other things in the world in the NFL. We're also going to get into the NBA as well. There's some news concerning that, including possible teams coming to two locations, including one that hasn't had an NBA team in a very long time. We're going to talk about that. Also, of course, the Final Four, or the NCAA March Madness, is getting ready to start. Man, the craziest tournament of the year is here now, and it's going to be insane, and we're going to do a brief conversation on that. And we have a lot of other stuff to get into, of course, in the world of mixed martial arts as well. We're going to get into that, whatever that is, as well. But let's get into what we need to get into now, and that's, of course, the sports. And we got with me right now this heavy metal guru right here. A man who always and forever will be the world's greatest drummer. Well, I mean, if you don't listen to any other person drum, then he might be your world's greatest. But we'll see. He knows more songs and has more stamina than Lars Ulrich during a Metallica concert. The one, the only, big. I don't need an oxygen tank. Stephen Wyand.
What's going on? Yes, we are here. We are live, and yes, what a week it's going to be, because yes, the single greatest tournament in the world of sports. And that's not just me saying it. Others say it as well. Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report, you name it, they all say it. They all agree. CBS says it, NBC, Fox, ESPN, you name it. Everybody loves March Madness, so get your dancing shoes on, ladies and gents, because it is going to be one of those crazy next several weeks. because we don't know who's going to make the Final Four. We don't know who's going to be in the championship game in a couple weeks in Indianapolis. It's going to be a very interesting tournament as it progresses. And we are looking forward to this tournament beginning tonight. The first four games are today and tomorrow. And the winners of those games, the winner of today's games, play on Thursday. And the winner of tomorrow's games play on Friday. So we shall see what happens tonight. And the first game is kicked off about 20 some odd minutes ago. And so we will be monitoring that. And of course, the NBA is hot and heavy. And last night, Jaylen Brown and the Celtics had a great game against the Suns at home. And lots of stuff happening around the world of sports, including the NFL, like Ez just said. So with that being said, let's get into it. Let's do it.
Exactly. And first off, on this tournament, we are not going to be doing no live coverages of any of the games. We are not that insane. We are not that stupid.
No, we
Ladies,
are not going to subject ourselves to that because, like, anybody that wants to watch those games, you know where to find them in your local, facilities and your local listings and all of that good stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
yep, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a crazy tournament. Obviously, there's a lot of bars and a lot of like casual bar restaurants, like for instance, Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll have it on their TVs, Wings, etc. Other places like that will definitely have it on their TV. So if you want to watch a game, have some wings, a few beers or drinks or whatever you want, go watch it there. Otherwise, like me, if I want to watch one of the games, I'm going to be in here in the comfort of my own home. But it's going to be a crazy tournament overall. We're going to cover it. We're going to get it. We're going to get into it over the next few weeks as these teams slowly get eliminated. Um, so we'll be on the lookout. We'll be keeping an eye on things, and once it gets down to the nitty gritty, we will be full blown coverage on it. Especially when it gets to the final 32 or even the Sweet 16. We'll be definitely on point for that. So keep an eye on our socials and keep an eye on everything for more updates. Um, so let's get into the world of the let's get into some NBA news first. And I mentioned this in the intro, and one of the big things right now is there have been rumors for a long time about possible expansion for the NBA. Obviously, we have not had an expansion since, or any move of any sort since the Seattle Supersonics packed their bags and went to Oklahoma City to become the Thunder. Well, March 24th and the 25th, which is next week, which I believe that is Monday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday, the NBA will be meeting on possible expansion teams.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens with this expansion stuff because, like we talked about before,
It's understandably upset over the fact that that this is not going the way they wanted to when they had this. You know, and to let you know, my internet is going to cut in and out because it's been acting like this funky for a while now, but
okay.
bear with me. It's been doing that even on our own Zoom meetings, Steven, so it's been doing that for a long time. But um I gotta say though, with this expansion, it's gonna bring the fan base of the Seattle back to that franchise, and I'm gonna love it when it happens because the way things kind of happened, it left that state in the fan base very sour. It was unbelievable. So now they could get an opportunity to get a team back, but the vote is coming up. I mean, what are your thoughts on possibly teams going back to Seattle and one debuting in the new burgeoning sports town known as Las Vegas?
If I had to put money on this, and if I was a betting man, I would say Vegas has a better shot at getting a team first. But knowing the Seattle fan base, and they have been longing for a professional basketball team since the days of the Seattle Supersonics, with all those great years with Gary Payton and all of that good stuff, and that run that they had, and obviously Ray Allen was there and Rashard Lewis back in the day. I
Yep.
mean, when you look at this city, they are a passionate sports fan base. They love their Seahawks. They love their Mariners, and obviously they got their own professional hockey team with the Seattle Kraken, a couple of years ago. But what they love more than anything is basketball. Just like we know for years back in the 80s and the 90s, Indiana was a basketball town. And then in the 2000s, Peyton Manning and the Colts took over and made it a football town. But then when Halliburton and all of those guys, came into Indiana and made that city be a basketball, city again, that's what happened. And obviously, for the last 20 some odd years, Seattle with the Seahawks have made that city in Seattle, Washington, more of a football town. And for so many years, they were a basketball town. And I know that fans are wanting to have a team in their city again, but if I'm being completely honest, I do think that Las Vegas is going to be the first city to get an expansion team as their next team next week.
Yeah, I can agree on that. And Seattle, I think, has got a very good opportunity to really get a team, NBA team, back in their forefront because the Sonics, like you said, had some major players, some major league talent that came to that city. Also, I think with Vegas, it does make sense because look at Vegas, what they have. They have the WNBA team, they have the Aces, they have the Vegas Golden Knights, the new NHL team. You have that. You have, and you have all the sorts of other things. You have the A's who moved to Las Vegas and are setting up shop. So there's a lot of options to where you could go with this as far as who goes where. But I do think Las Vegas will have the edge in the overall process, but I think both teams will get their chance. Will get their teams because I think there's too much history in Seattle to not have that. Also, another name you forgot in Seattle, Deflet Schrempf.
That's right. Yes.
A name that doesn't get mentioned very often, but name
And you talked about, Vegas too, like also the fact that they become not just the entertainment capital of the world, but obviously now with the Raiders and now with the acquisition of the Golden Knights several years ago and winning a championship in the National Hockey League, and now they are longing for success and bringing an NBA team because, as we all know, there has been the play-in tournament taking place in Vegas a number of times as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
insider. Let's see. Some injury news here. Giannis has been diagnosed with a left knee hyperextension and a bone bruise and will be reevaluated in 1 week.
And that is interesting because Giannis literally just came back a couple weeks ago.
I agree on that. The T Wolves, Anthony Edwards will be reevaluated in 1 to 2 weeks due to right knee inflammation. So Anthony Edwards dealing with some injury issues as well. The Sacramento Kings are signing Killian Hayes to a 2-year deal. The former number 7 pick in 10 games for the Kings over two 10-day contracts now lands a full deal. The Celtics are signing two-way Max Shuga to a standard 2-year contract. He was another draft pick. Let's see. Steph Curry will miss another. Well, as of this point, he's going to miss four more days. But as of 6 days ago, it was a 10-day stretch. Or at this point, it was 10 days with his ailing knee, stretching his absence to 5 more games at a total of 20 consecutive. Curry has started on-court work and is aiming to intensify his workouts.
And as Kevin called them in our chat, they are the Golden State 49ers.
Absolutely.
I mean, and all joking aside, I mean, it is unfortunate that Steph Curry, that Seth Curry, that Draymond Green, that all Jimmy Butler with the ACL injury, all these nagging injuries that have riddled Golden State, and when they've had a shot to go on a run to be in the conversation of guaranteed playoff spots, they just been once again snake bitten by the injury bug.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Unfortunately, it's getting that time of year. We're getting to the end of the season. Um, in all reality, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this all plays out. We're going to get into some standings in a few minutes here as well, but also Tyrese Maxey back on the 10th was diagnosed with a tendon injury in his right pinky finger and will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. Now 2 weeks as of this point.
Hmm.
So that's, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it on the big news. Let's go ahead and let's look at the standings at this point. Uh, as we're getting creeping closer and closer towards that, you mentioned that the play-ins, and we're creeping very, very close right now. And as of right now, your 1 to 6 standings are the Pistons, Celtics, and the Knicks. Stupid advertisements. Go
Oh,
away.
don't you just love that when you're trying to read an article and they just keep bombarding you with
Yeah,
ads and
it's
it's
Knicks have clinched the postseason already. Number 4, Cavaliers, 5, Magic, and 6, Raptors.
hmm.
With the Heat, with Miami on the outside looking in as of now by a half a game. And then only a game behind them, the Hawks, and tied, but Hawks have the tiebreaker over them, is the 76ers. And then 3 games behind in the playing spot would be the final playing spot would be the Hornets. And then of course the Bucks, Bulls, Nets, Wizards, and Pacers all round out. And those teams, and by the way, Wizards and Pacers, they have already been eliminated from playoff contention.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate with Indiana because last year they make that magic carpet ride of a Cinderella run to the NBA Finals all the way to a pivotal Game 7, and Tyrese Halliburton ruptures his Achilles, and that was their season in a nutshell for 2026-27. And hopefully Halliburton can make a full recovery for next year and Indiana can get back to where they were a year ago.
Yeah. And then on the Western Conference side of things, you have the Thunder. You have the Thunder, Spurs, Lakers, and Rockets who have all clinched postseason spots already. Oh, and the Nuggets and the T-Wolves and the Suns. So 7 teams already have clinched postseason spots as of this point. Now it's just a matter of placement. Um, let's see. Also, and then you have in the 8 to 10 slots, which are the final spots, Clippers, Warriors, and Trailblazers. Which, by the way, as far as the damage on that goes, the Clippers are 5 games behind the Suns for that 7th spot. The Warriors are only 1 game behind the Clippers, and the Trailblazers are a half a game behind the Warriors. And then the next one is 9.5 games back for the Grizz. And then the Kings are 18 and 51
Oof.
in the very bottom, and they're the only team out of the West so far that is mathematically pretty much eliminated. But I'm sure the Jazz will be soon to follow because they're right now at a 20 and 48 with a 29.4% winning percentage. So,
I mean, it is just amazingly how bad the Jazz are this year. Like they are laughable bad. like really bad. Like it really is amazing to talk about how the Detroit Pistons were in the same spot a couple of years ago in the Eastern Conference. They could barely win any games at all, and now they are tearing up the Eastern Conference. And then on the West side, the Jazz, a team that over the years was in the hunt for a playoff spot for the last several years since getting rid of Mitchell and Gobert. This team went from being contenders to now being nothing but pretenders and just not being a contending team at getting into a play-in spot or the playoffs at all. And the Jazz is another fan base. The Utah Jazz fans are so passionate about their basketball team. But man, I understand how passionate they are, but the loyalty that they have, like I get it. I understand that. You always want to be loyal to your team. But at the same time, when you look at how bad this team is, like it's an embarrassment, because it's almost like these younger players, it's almost like a lot of them aren't even trying. Like, at least go out there and give it your all on the floor. I mean, they can't get loose balls, they can't defend, they can't do anything.
Dude, it has been a rough year for
This is Chicago White Sox levels of bad.
oof. Oof. That you're right. You're absolutely dead on. Ball's accurate. It's a rough go. And it can only get worse from here, so we'll see what happens. Um let's go ahead and get into the world of the major leagues, and by major leagues I mean Major League Baseball, obviously. Tonight the World Baseball Finals are taking place.
Yep.
And it's going to be a big game. It's Venezuela taking on the United States.
And what a win this would be for the United States, because look at the run that they've been on as a whole in these competitions. You had both the U.S. men and women hockey teams both beat Canada in the gold medal game and in overtime. And we'll see if the USA baseball team wins the WBC this year.
Yeah, absolutely. The US definitely needs this win, but Venezuela, who's been a dominant force in this, they're going to try to look for it.
Yes, they are.
Um Also in other news, Seiya Suzuki, who's been out dealing with an injury, it gets got a good update. He hasn't been ruled out for being ready for opening day. He had a posterior cruciate ligament to PCL sprain that is minor in nature. He said he will continue with light activity in the coming days to gauge this process, but it looks to be like one of their star players, Seiya Suzuki, could be ready for starting day for the Cubs, who last year made a nice run in the playoffs. So we'll see if the Cubs can be able to maintain that momentum from last year, build it into this year. Is that it doesn't involve an actual fight. It involves a certain... Actually, it does. Thank you for reminding me, ESPN. The same card that will feature Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano and Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins will now feature a fight between Mike, the King of Violence, Mike Perry, who is known that way in bare knuckle fighting championships, will face off against one of the legends of the MMA and one half of the most notorious brothers
Oh
the
my.
history of the game, Nate Diaz.
Oh my.
Nate Diaz is coming back to MMA in his first fight in 4 years on that super card with Frank, like I said, with names like Francis Ngannou, and of course the main event between Carano and Rousey. So that was the big news that was dropped by the CEO of Most Valuable Promotions. So that was a big news drop that happened this week. Um, the UFC is going to issue 85,000 free tickets to the White House event coming up. All the tickets for that event will be free.
Hmm.
I think that
Interesting.
I think that's personally a way of saying we're sorry the card sucks. Here's free tickets.
Yeah, and obviously, I would guess the ticket prices for this was very expensive, and the fight card, let's be honest, it's not that great. So they're trying to recoup all that money. And yeah, here's a free ticket. Like, it is what
By
it
the way,
is.
by the way, what company runs UFC?
TKO,
Bingo. What event is TKO having problems selling tickets for?
WrestleMania.
Bingo. Circle gets the square. So I think they're trying to do some damage control with TKO on that, maybe.
And,
That's just
like we talked about before, I think the fans are starting to figure this out because
mm-hmm.
I do think that WrestleMania, and not to go on a tangent, but I do think that WrestleMania eventually is going to have people in there. But the way fans are doing this is the same way that fans are starting to figure this out when it comes to going to concerts, when it comes to going to some sporting events. If you wait to the last minute or day of or a couple of days before the show, or even days before the show, even in advance, in a week before the show, you're going to
or
start seeing ticket prices drop.
or if you're lucky enough to be in driving distance of the arena in which the event is taking place, you can always wait to the day of if you're that worried about trying to get a cheaper ticket. If you're within driving distance and can make it there, you can obviously wait till the day of and wait a couple hours before the doors open and try to score a cheap ticket there.
Yeah, because I mean, now that we're starting to see ticket prices for Mania drop, it's going to continuously happen because people are figuring out the process, and now TKO is having to eat a lot of crow when it comes to the way they've been pricing out fans, not just for WWE but also for UFC. And people are becoming very smart at this because they are not going to spend their hard earned money on a card that does not look great on paper. Because what sells? Names. What sells? Fights that have name value to them.
Yep.
What sells in wrestling? Storylines that have meaning behind them. And also matchups that have big names. That is why you're seeing Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes facing each other instead of Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Nothing against McIntyre, but Randy and Cody is the big match, along with Reigns and with Punk.
And now, as of last night, Obafemi and Brock Lesnar.
Yep. So
Um,
TKO is learning a very valuable lesson, and hopefully they will fall back on with these stupid ticket prices, and they change their ways, and they realize, hey, we've been pricing out our fans, and fans we've now learned they don't have indisposable amount of funds, and they're limited on what their budgets are. And I think if they do price their tickets right, and if they have cards that fans want to buy and the tickets are reasonable, people will go.
yeah, absolutely, man. Um, let's see here. And I think it's pretty much MMA news I have. Let's go ahead and move on to the NFL. And oh my God, I mean, it was nothing overly extravagant, obviously, but there is some there were some big stories that ran this week. Obviously, we're gonna get into a good amount of it in just a few minutes here, but let's see. The big news that dropped earlier about 55 minutes ago. There is a new board of player representatives for the NFL Players Association, and that is former Brown. Come on, fucking Wi-Fi. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! It's
What's
Joey.
up?
Wah, wah, wah.
Womp, womp, womp. Can you hear us, Joey?
If you can't hear, if you're in trouble, blink twice.
I won't see it.
That would like you taking you to go see David Copperfield.
I think we got him now. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Figured I'd hop on for just a few minutes.
Sure thing,
What's going
man.
on, dude?
Not much. What's going on with you, Joe?
Oh, hang on a second. I'll be right back.
Uh,
Okay. All right. Real quick. Let's go ahead and get to this. Like I said, there's a new executive director, board of player representatives. It is former Browns offensive lineman J.C. Treader.
mm-hmm.
He will now be in charge of, of course, the bargaining agreements and all that stuff with the NBA or the NFL and the NFL Players Association. So, it's gonna be it's gonna be cool for that. Congratulations to him. Also today, the Packers announced today that they will install Bob Harlan's name in a place of honor on the Lambeau Field's northeast facade. The former Packers president CEO's name will be unveiled on the facade during the 2026 season at a game that will be determined after the NFL schedule is finalized. Also, there's a note I missed here too, and that is that the Eagles have announced the terms on a 1-year deal with Hollywood Brown.
Yes, that news came out today.
Yeah, I did miss that, when I was mainly scrolling for the Tua or the dead money situation. That's what I was gonna look at. And I ended up skipping over that and not forgetting about it. So, some other news, Ty Chandler, originally from the Vikings is now donning the gold and black. He is he's a New Orleans Saint now.
Mm.
We got to talk about this, Steven, and that is this, and that is 2 words: dead money. And that is exactly what the Dolphins haven't cured this, not only this season, but next season. But this season, between all the players that they've traded, signed, got rid of, whatever the case may be, there is over $175 million in dead money in just this season alone.
This has to be one of the worst monumental dead cap situations that any sports team has gone through in quite some time. I mean, when you look at all of the money that the Dolphins are having to pay these other players, and they're not even going to be playing with that team next year. I mean, from the top, you got Tua, and then you got Tyreek Hill. You got now Jalen Waddle, who is going to be now a Denver Bronco with the trade that came down today and all of that. And then you have obviously Jalen Ramsey, and those are the big names on that team from this year alone. And Jonnu Smith, who didn't even play with the Dolphins last year, they're having to eat that $1 million deal. I mean, just look at all of the money from some of the top players in this, on this team that were in the last couple of years, and now every one of them is pretty much gone. Like, it is unbelievable how in a couple of years, the Miami Dolphins, who were thought as a team that could potentially contain for a Super Bowl, is now back to the bottom of the basement and where they have been dormant for the last several years.
It's insane how much money that they're going to be taking on this year. And you got to understand this money that they're taking on is going to affect any more signings that they do have later on in the year. It's going to affect any trades. It's going to affect anything that they do. And especially the biggest numbers being the first 4 or 5. You got to think Bradley Chubb, Micah Fitzpatrick, Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Tua all together combined for over 110, $115 million, if not more. And that's insanity just to that. That's all money that's just going to sit. All that money that's just going to be, nope, you can't use it. And it's insanity. It really is. But that just shows the inept ability by the front office, and especially coaching and everything else that has really done the Dolphins in. Whether it's Mike McDaniel being a head coach, whether it was Tua getting concussed so many times, Tyreek Hill breaking his leg.
Oh, Joey's back.
And Joey's
Yep,
back.
I'm back.
No, all good, man. We're just going over some of the NFL news. We talked a little bit about March Madness. Obviously, with it just starting, there's not too much we could talk about. I mean,
Until next week, obviously.
not till
Yeah,
next.
I'm watching the UMBC and Howard Bison game right now.
Okay, how's that going?
Howard is pretty much running away with it right now. I think they were up by 10 points last I checked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then, of course, later on is Texas and NC State at 9:15.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a feeling that's going to be a good one.
We were just talking about the dead cap hell that the Dolphins have been going through within the last couple of weeks alone. I mean, just looking unreal.
Speaking of the Miami Dolphins, how much more freaking stupid are they gonna get? Because they traded Jalen Waddle today to the freaking Denver Broncos
For a draft pick. Oh, whoopee! Yippee!
I mean, how much more stupid is Miami gonna get? I'm telling you, I know this is March, and I know that we're still months away from the football season, but seeing as what Miami, excuse me, has been doing so far, I am making a very, very early prediction right now. The Dolphins are going to finish dead last in the AFC behind, yes, folks, the Jets. I'm calling
Joey,
it.
I'm going to go one step further than that. The Miami Dolphins are not only going to finish dead last in the AFC, but they're going to finish dead last in the NFL.
That wouldn't surprise me at this point.
I mean,
would not surprise me at this point.
The Miami Dolphins franchise, you are cursed.
Yeah, and Miami Dolphins franchise, you are fucked.
Yes. Yes.
By the way, I just did the calculation between Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Jalen Ramsey's dead money situation alone.
What's the damage on that? Probably somewhere in the 100 millions.
Probably somewhere in the 100 millions alone. It's got to be in the 100 millions. It's got to be because Tua's contract is 50 million.
I'm back.
You're good.
My damn internet kept going out again. 125.4 million around that number.
Good God.
Jesus Christ.
That's just between Waddle, Ramsey, Hill, and Tua.
That is unbelievable.
Mm.
And the next highest number is Micah Fitzpatrick with 13 million. I mean,
Yep, there's your big numbers right there. Almost $140 million. Almost
yep.
unreal.
The J-
Absolutely unreal.
the Jalen Waddle trade was fucking. They traded him and a 4th-round pick to the Broncos for their 1st-round pick, and then a late 3rd and 4th rounder.
Not a smart move by Miami at all.
Mm-mm. Nope.
And then freaking there was other news today. Darius Slay announced his retirement yesterday. He's decided to hang it up.
What a career he had.
Yep.
Known as one of the best shutdown corners to ever play the game.
Yep.
Absolutely. Also too, we talked about at the top of the show the news that I didn't see, and that was that Hollywood Brown is going to Philly.
What's this? Another Brown over the top? Barkley up the middle.
Oh,
Barkley up the middle.
God.
Hollywood Brown. Deep pass. Incomplete.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Who else? Big. Oh yeah, Justin Fields going to the Chiefs in exchange for a 6th-round pick next year.
This to me is a smart move by Kansas City because we don't know the status of Patrick Mahomes as the season gets started in the fall because we're still early on in the offseason. And plus, he's still going to be in recovery, with the ACL injury that he suffered at the end of the year last year. And
Yeah. And
I think
and
this is very smart.
I saw a mind blowing stat this morning as I was getting ready for work. If Justin Fields winds up taking the field for the Chiefs in week 1, he will be the first quarterback since 1950. Yeah, the first quarterback since 1950 to take the week 1 start for 4 different teams in the last 4 seasons.
Wow.
Just think, it was the Bears, the Steelers, the Jets, and now it could be the Chiefs.
Yep.
Well, Joey, you guys got some good news, and that is that McNichols is sticking around on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I mean, it is great to have somebody familiar back, but seeing as how we also signed Rashad White from the Bucks and Jerome Ford from the Browns, I don't know where McNichols is going to fit in the fold.
Especially now that White's there because obviously White can be a number 1 back at times too.
He can, and so can Jerome Ford on occasions.
And
Yep.
where does that leave Bill Krosky Merritt though now too?
Well, I think Bill Krosky Merritt is still going to be our number 1 back.
Yeah.
I just feel like he and Rashad and Jerome can probably form a rare 3-way rushing attack.
Okay.
But now the question remains because rumors were circulating for weeks that we were going to get Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame in a draft with our 7th overall selection. But now that we got 4 running backs on the roster, where's Adam Peters' head at now? I mean, I know he's still got a few weeks before the NFL draft, and anything can take place, but I'm curious as to knowing where his head is going to be at come draft time.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the NFL Players Association announced they have reelected Jalen Reeves-Maben as its president. And they've also announced a new executive committee, which is Harrison Phillips, Jonathan Grenard, Zaire Franklin, and Cam Hayward. Let's see what else here we got. That's pretty important. Oh, Dallas Goddard re-signing with Philadelphia on a 1-year, $7 million deal. So we have that going for us. We're
Yep.
going for the Eagles. So, Darnell Mooney is planning to sign with the Giants.
Okay, now I'm curious about something regarding all these signings by a particular team.
Yeah.
With all the former teammates joining their old coach, are we seeing the New York Giants or the New York Ravens? Seriously, are we seeing the New York Giants or the New York Ravens? I mean, come on.
I mean, look who the head coach is. I mean, Harbaugh is bringing in his guys.
Yeah.
Yep, he is kind of similar to.
If only the Giants could bring in Derrick Henry.
Oh my.
That's a fever. That's a fever dream right there, Joe.
Yeah.
Here's as a player who's definitely going to a different team. Once again, his name is Josh Johnson.
The journeyman. The journeyman.
This is literally the lineup of teams he signed with.
This is what his 18th NFL season with what his 14th or 15th different team.
Well, let me give you the rundown. Okay, he started off.
Oh, I think it's going to be one of these nights with his internet. This is like the third time or so his internet's decided to. Yeah, it's going to be one of those nights. But it's okay. We'll get through it.
Texans, Raiders, then the Commanders, then the Lions, back to the Niners, back to the Jets, back to the Ravens, to the Broncos, back to the Niners for a third stint, back to the Ravens for a third stint, back to Washington for a second stint. Now he's back to Cincinnati for a third stint.
What is he, Big Show turning heel in face?
This man is going through more teams than Zach Wilson in a Cougar farm.
Oh Lord.
Good Lord, man, have mercy.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Johnson's definitely earning them traveling miles.
Yeah. That's for sure.
But I get why they brought him back, because I mean they don't know how Joe Burrow's going to hold up because their offensive line sucks. Their O-line can't block worth the crap, and you got to have somebody out there who's a decent backup, because obviously Jay Browning was not it last year.
I still can't get over the fact, or let me just give Joe Burrow a one-word piece of advice. In the words of the late, great, legendary Bray Wyatt,
Yep.
because you now got to face Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and your former teammate Trey Hendrickson twice each this upcoming season.
And speaking of the Ravens and Trey Hendrickson, it was announced last week that he signed a 4-year deal worth $112 million with Baltimore. And folks, if you missed it last week, all 4 of us were on the show last week, and we gave our natural, unfiltered reaction when the news came down, the literal breaking news of Max Crosby failed his physical with the Baltimore Ravens, and the Ravens did not continue on with him being on the team, as it was not official until the next day. They backed off on the trade.
And now Max Crosby is saying, "Oh, I'm a Raider once again. Let's go back and run this shit." And I'm like, boy, please.
Please, your team's gonna still suck. But dude, another thing that happened this week was, as many of you know, Jim Irsay, the late Jim Irsay, decided they are auctioning off some of his memorabilia collection.
Mm-hmm.
So far, it has brought in over $93.6 million.
Including last
Wow.
week, the guitar that David Gilmour played in the late 60s through 83 on albums such as The Wall, Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon. Those are three albums that come to mind. Three classic Pink Floyd records. That guitar was sold for a whopping $14 million last week. Unreal.
Wow.
And Jim Irsay, as we all know, was an avid music collector, like Ez has said. He's had equipment from the Beatles and Pink Floyd and so many different artists and bands over the years.
Um,
Well, there is or not to go off topic here, but I gotta get off here in just a minute. But
okay, go ahead.
but there's something I do want to discuss real fast before I do get off. But yeah, let's go ahead and finish this Jim Irsay talk real fast, and then we can bring up my
Okay.
topic.
Okay, real quick. Some of the notable sports items that were sold include the saddle used by jockey Ron Turcotte as he rode Secretary to the Triple Crown in '73. That sold for over $1.5 million. Edmonton Oilers jersey that Wayne Gretzky scored his 500 goal with went almost $1 million.
Mm.
Ali versus Lister 2, the robe that Ali wore, sold for 44.5 mil. And then a bead spiral notebook containing 28 pages of Sylvester Stallone's original Rocky script sold for 508,000.
Wow.
So
Wow.
so those are just some of the items that did sell, and there was of course a lot of the music items like Steven said. Um Go ahead, Joey, with your topic that you want to hit up before you have to roll out of here.
All right, so I know we talked briefly about it, but of course, as you all know, March Madness is once again upon us. Now, as of right now, we are down to 68 teams, but whenever the weekend comes and goes, we're going to be down to only 16 teams, believe it or not.
Yes.
So, my question is, with the slogan for the NCAA tournament being anything can happen in March, which of course, anything can happen. Out of the four number one overall seeds, and for those of y'all that don't know, the four number one seeds are Duke, Michigan, Florida, and dadgummit, who's the other one? Arizona. I couldn't think for a minute, but yeah, Duke, Michigan, Florida, and Arizona. Which number one team is in the most danger of being the first one out?
I'm going to say Florida.
Just from what I've looked at so far,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people so far are saying that Duke and Florida are the two biggest number one seeds that could face an early disaster. And I can understand why for Duke, because Caleb Foster and Patrick Ngungba are going to be out for the majority, if not the entirety, of this NCAA tournament, which means they've been having to bring in those reserves off the bench who, may I add, have been playing very well. But with it being the NCAA tournament, it's single elimination.
Not only that, but also going to have to
Obviously.
rely on Cam Boozer a lot to do more damage,
Yeah,
too.
and you're going to have to rely on Caden Boozer too.
Yep.
But Florida, yeah, I'm kind of getting a little bit of doubts about Florida because Florida was supposed to be this team that could beat you down low, who could out rebound you, who can out muscle you at will, and just completely dominate the paint. But what happened to Florida in the semifinals of their own conference tournament? Oh, yeah. They got their butts beat by 17 points by a young and obviously talented Vanderbilt squad. Vanderbilt completely outclassed them, outplayed them, and just basically dominated them for the entirety of 40 minutes. Vanderbilt made Florida look absolutely lost. And I know Florida had a rough start with their non-conference schedule. I think they were like 6-3 or something before conference play started, and of course, obviously, they were able to turn it around once conference play started. But the games are only going to get harder, and for Florida, they are last year's national champs, so that means they are now the hunted as far as teams are coming for them. Teams are going to be gunning for them. And it will not surprise me if Florida stumbles early. Now, could I see them repeat as national champs? Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it just all depends on which Florida team is going to show up. Is it going to be that Florida team that's supposed to dominate the paint? Or is it going to be that Florida team that got completely blasted by Vanderbilt in the semifinals of the SEC tournament?
Yeah, and you brought up Duke too, Joey. It's going to be also interesting to see how they do in the tournament because, as we all know, on Saturday against Virginia, they had to sweat that one out because Virginia gave it their all in that game, and Duke ended up pulling away about 4 points and winning it in the end. And it was a hard fought game. And again, this is why in the NCAA tournament, you have to play every possession like it's your last. Because
That's right.
if Duke is on the ropes, if Florida's on the ropes, you can't slip up one time because if you do, that's it. You're out of here. And I agree with you, Joey. I think that Florida and Duke had the most pressure on them because Duke was clouded by so-called experts and fans alike that they're going to make a run, they're going to make a run. Okay, they can, but it's up to the players from the rest of the stars to the reserves to have that mentality embedded in their DNA because it doesn't matter who is there or not. What matters is who is there because who wants it more? It's up to you because 6 victories and you're champions. You're cutting down the nets in Indianapolis. You have to want it more than the other team that is on the floor because that is going to be something that people are going to be watching all weekend long is these 4 number 1 seeds. Who is going to crumble under the pressure, the monumental pressure of the tournament? Because Duke has done it. And obviously, Virginia was the first one to do it back in, what was it, 2018?
It was
They were the first.
2018. You would be correct.
They were the first team to lose to a 16 in the tournament.
And
Obviously,
then,
nothing will top that. But the
and then
embarrassment of
obviously,
going out early would be big.
and then obviously, if you look back at just more recent history, it was just 3 years ago that another 16 seed beat a 1 seed, and that was when Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue
Yep.
3 years ago in 2023. So anything can happen at any point in this NCAA tournament. So these players and these teams need to come out with their A games 100% of the time because if they don't, and if they play or if they play like they don't belong there, then it's going to be an early exit and a long off season for these teams.
Yeah, definitely can agree on that for sure. Um, when it comes down to it, this tournament is going to be absolutely insane, and we'll see what happens going forward with this tournament. As we said, we're going to get down to the Sweet 16 eventually here, and we're gonna be looking, and I think don't we usually do something with that every year? Don't we usually, when it gets down to a certain number, don't we usually pick a winner?
Yeah, I think in years past we waited until it was down to 16, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
think we
just
did. I think we did that too. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so when it gets down to Sweet 16, we're gonna do something related to that. So just keep an eye on our social media for more.
Oh,
Um,
and one last question regarding the NCAA tournament.
okay.
How long are the perfect brackets gonna last?
Not long.
I give I give it I give it by the end of the week.
If not by the end of the week, I would say definitely by the end of next week.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, guys, that's enough out of me tonight. I got to get off here.
All right, Joey.
All right, dude.
But yeah, it was great being back on here tonight. Hopefully, I'll be back full time soon.
All right, man.
All right,
All
dude.
right, y'all have a great rest of the show.
You too. Take
All
it
right.
easy, dude.
All right, that was Joey Thornton, folks. See what else real quick. Let's see. Oh, here's some news. Former Panthers free agent defensive end DJ Wonnum is signing a 1-year deal up to $6 million to join the Detroit Lions.
Hmm.
Let's see. Real quick, let me scroll through the Shefty account and see what else we can get into real quick before. Oh, here we go. Here's where we kind of left off. And that is that Trey Lance is returning to the Chargers on a 1-year deal worth up to 6.75 mil. Let's see what else here. Jalen Jones is re-signing to the Chicago on a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our veteran cornerbacks is sticking around. Former Titans free agent defensive lineman Sebastian Joseph Day is signing a 2-year, $11 million deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's see here. Rasheed Walker, who looks like he was a Green Bay Packer at one point, is now signed a deal with Carolina.
Hmm.
And it is a max value of $10 million. Former Chargers tight end Tyler Conklin is signing a 1-year deal with Detroit. Let's see who else. Former Bears free agent safety Jonathan Owens is signing a 1-year deal with the Colts.
Hmm.
Of course, Jonathan Owens not known for being a famous football player, but known for being the husband of Olympic gymnast champion gold medal winner Simone Biles. Steelers have acquired Michael Pittman Jr. and a 2026 seventh round pick from the Colts in exchange for a 2026 sixth round pick.
Good move by Pittsburgh.
214th overall. The Buccaneers have officially signed Sean Robinson and Jake Browning. Oh Lord.
Yeah, Tampa. I'm sorry about your luck if Baker Mayfield goes out with an injury, because if Jake Browning is going to be your starting quarterback, you're finished.
Yep. The Steelers have announced they've officially signed Rico Dowdle. Of course, the Carolina running back that hit 200 yards in one game this past year. He has signed a 2-year contract with Pittsburgh. Uh, let's see here. Anything else that's big? Former Rams cornerback Kobe Durant has reached an agreement on a 1-year deal up to $5.5 million to join the Dallas Cowboys.
For once, the Cowboys made a move? What?
Yeah, but the only problem is he didn't spend a lot of money. That's probably what Jerry Jones had in his left pocket. And in his right pocket is all the money he spent on fucking what's his name and didn't spend on Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Jackass. Bears free agent safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson has signed a 1-year deal up to $6 million to join the Buffalo Bills. I did not like that at first, but now that we have current Super Bowl champ safety from Seattle, Kobe Bryant, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And then what about this? Former Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray has signed a 1-year deal with Minnesota.
And this is a move that a lot of people have been speculating about because Kyler Murray obviously has been on the outs with the Cardinals. And it is going to be very interesting to see how Kyler does with his new team in Minnesota. And this puts a lot of pressure on McCarthy because as long as Kyler Murray can continue to sling the ball with consistency, if he can, and develop chemistry with the weapons that Minnesota has, and if the O-line can block for Murray, I think this is going to put a lot of pressure on JJ McCarthy because obviously the competition is going to be hectic with Murray and with McCarthy in the offseason on who is going to be the week 1 starter in the fall in September. And it is amazing how the trajectory of the numbers of Murray's career has changed over the last couple of years with Arizona. I mean, like we talked about before, Arizona was 7-0 5 years ago. And they were on a hot streak. And ever since they've been on a losing streak off and down the last 4 seasons, Murray's numbers a lot of the times have been inconsistent up and down. And now that he's going to a team that has a head coach in Kevin O'Connell, that won Coach of the Year a couple of times, who has great players at their possessions, then this right here makes Murray's job, I think, easier. But just because you have somewhat of a name value on your resume doesn't mean it's going to be producing success. And no excuses now, because now you're playing with a true number 1 receiver, one of the best to do it in Justin Jefferson. And Minnesota still has, very solid players on their offense, and their defense is pretty solid too. But Kyler Murray, I think this might be his last shot to be something in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry about that. I had a 121-pound visitor that wanted to visit me. So, you know how dogs are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rocket is no exception. And you're right. I'm interested to see how Kyler Murray plays. Especially if he's going to be focused and if he's going to play good. But it's all going to be depending on the health of JJ McCarthy. That's going to be dependent. If McCarthy can stay healthy or not, it's going to depend on how much and how consistent he is. It's going to depend on how much. That's going to depend on what we see for Kyler Murray coming up. It's unfortunate that he goes from a starting role to a backup, but then again, that might be the better move for him overall. We'll see what happens. But other news to get into, Bryce Huff um has announced that he is retiring from the NFL at the age of 27.
Hmm. Lots of young players retiring at a young age these days.
Says that he is starting a company called Neighborstone, which will build safety infrastructure to help with fire risk on lithium-ion batteries. Weird kind of thing to do, but whatever his heart is into is what he'll do. Um, Former Rams free agent wide receiver Tutu Atwell is signing to a 1 year deal with Miami. Um, Colts defensive end Samson Ibukam has reached an agreement with the Atlanta Falcons. We mentioned about Rashad White joining the
Yep.
Commanders. We knew that was coming. Well, the Buccaneers did make one good move, and that is that they've signed former Steelers running back Kenneth Gainwell.
Hmm. I know Pittsburgh fans are not happy about that.
And by the way, the Falcons that day, which was the 12th, they signed 6 players in one day. They signed defensive lineman Jonah Williams, offensive lineman Elijah Wilkinson, offensive lineman Matt Pryor, course Gardner Minshew, long snapper Casey Crater, and running back. This is the Arizona Cardinals, by the way. I meant to say. Running back Tyler Algier.
Hmm.
Yep. Um, Jonathan Allen, who's a former defensive tackle from Minnesota, he signed a 2 year, $28 million agreement to go with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Hmm.
Let's see who else. Landon Dickerson has agreed to a revised 2 year contract at around $36 million. This new contract is now that he was previously due 39 million in 26-27, but that can hit with 2027 incentives. He's due 15.7 million this year and is no longer under contract in 2028. Let's see. I really outside of those, I think we've hit the good notes on oh wait. The Cowboys traded Osa, their defensive tackle, to the
Hmm.
49ers in exchange for a 2026 third round pick. That was one I think Kevin was really happy about,
Yeah.
if I remember right. Also, former Vikings defensive tackle Javon Hargrave has reached an agreement on a 2 year, $23 million deal to sign with the Packers.
Hmm. Good move by Green Bay. Because
That includes 13 million of that guarantee.
hmm, that's a good move for Green Bay.
Yeah. Offensive tackle Jedrick Willis Jr., who was a former Browns first round pick, has signed a 1 year deal with the Bears.
Hmm.
Former Jets wide receiver John Mechie is signing a 1 year deal with the Carolina Panthers, which means he'll be rejoining his fellow teammate at Alabama, Bryce Young.
Hmm. Hmm.
We mentioned about Bradley Chubb, Kirk Cousins getting released. Well, we didn't really mention that. That was we knew it was coming, but it was officially announced on the 11th, so it was the day after the show.
Yeah, and we talked about that a lot last week because of the hit that Atlanta had to take and all of
10
that and
Yeah, he's owed $10 million. And also, too, the 49ers and tight end Jake Tonges has agreed to a new deal. It's a 2-year contract worth $8 million, including 5.5 guaranteed.
Huh. Not a bad deal for the big man, because last year he was pretty solid when Kittle went out with injuries last year.
Yep, absolutely. Um, Aaron Jones has restructured his deal with the Vikings. For 5.56 million, including 5 million guaranteed. And that is, I think, pretty much it on big news notes. Yeah, looks like it. Oh, Colts and Daniel Jones have reached an agreement on a 2-year contract.
Ah, so he's sticking with the team.
Yes, he is. It's an $88 million base value, with 50 million of that money fully guaranteed at signing, 60 million guaranteed for injury.
Huh.
Max value of 100 million, making it the largest 2-year contract in NFL history.
I mean, Daniel Jones is a very interesting story with the Indianapolis Colts last year because they got off to the hot start. For the first 7 to 8 games, he was playing rock solid football. The offensive line was blocking for him, and then he had those nagging injuries. And I mean, so it's hard to tell if this is a win-win situation for Daniel Jones because we need to
Yeah.
see a full body of work of a season. And if he can remain consistent with the team, then it's a win-win no matter what. Because I mean, man, just if you're a Colts fan last year, you were optimistic and thinking that, oh, this is our chance, this is our year. We're gonna, make a run at it, with Daniel Jones. We may not make it, but we're gonna make a crack at it. And unfortunately, that didn't happen because of the nagging injuries that he had, and I just really think that those nagging injuries last year caused his throwing mechanics and his awareness on the field to go down, and it's unfortunate, but hopefully for his sake and the Colts fans' sake, he gets back to full strength in the upcoming season.
Yeah, absolutely. All the best for Daniel Jones. He was playing very, very well. Unfortunately, suffered a myriad of nagging injuries, and then the Achilles that eventually ruptured from using that other leg, or from not using that other leg. So it was just horrible. Um, but obviously we talked earlier about Trey Hendrickson signing that 4-year deal, 120 mil, 60 million of a guarantee, $20 million signing bonus. And for 8, 10, 12, and 14 sacks per season, he will get an additional half a million for each threshold that he meets as well. So he'll gain even more money if he hits those numbers in sacks. Um, and then finally, to kind of end it, Josh Allen's contract has been restructured to create $12 million worth of 2026 calorie salary cap space, excuse me. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. Because literally, I've dug through everything that I could. I think I've dug more bones up than I should, but um, I'm just here alone digging up bones, like Randy Travis would say.
Nice.
I don't know where that one came from, but it's all good. Um, Anything else you want to talk about, Steven, before we
Uh,
roll it out of here today?
I think I'm good.
Okay, real quick, definitely want you guys to follow at Too Sweet Cosplay before we get to Steven, because I want to make this news, and that is, of course, we announced the other day that Too Sweet Cosplay will return for C2E2, March 27th through the 29th, 10 days away. Our booth will be back alongside all the title belts that we bring, so you guys can take photos for free if you want. You can reenact your favorite superstars' entrances, and we're also going to have daily raffles for drawings. They may include trading cards, autographed wrestling figures, and Funko Pops that we bought from Whatnot and other places, and many, many more. And it's all free. So if you're in the building and you're wearing wrestling cosplay, or if you just love wrestling, you want to come check it out. Come check us out in Cosplay Central. Just look for the Too Sweet Cosplay banner, and you'll find us. But we'll be there all weekend long, setting up shop. So if you're out there, come check us out. Once again, we're back with the booth March 27th through 29th at McCormick Place in Chicago, Illinois. Get your tickets at c2e2.com. But Steven, go ahead and close it out, my friend.
Should be a lot of fun. Hope you have a good time next week in Chicago. Should be a lot of
Thank
fun. You can what a great show tonight. Thanks to Joey for hopping on tonight briefly, and had a lot of fun talking a little bit of everything. You know, a little NFL, a little NBA. March Madness is beginning here tonight, and things are going to be getting hot and heavy next week as we get into the tournament next week, as we will be down to 16 teams heading in the next week, and that will be very interesting. And you can follow us on Twitter or X at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on most Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Pacific time on the YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to all your family and your friends that love the world of sports. And great show here tonight. You can also follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter. The Instagram, the Facebook, and the YouTube channels are all at the Nation's Corner. And lots going on in the world of wrestling. Randy Orton turning heel last week on Cody Rhodes. It is made official as of last night. Obafemi will be taking on Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 42. And obviously Punk and Roman continued their promo clashes last night. The third promo series from those guys. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens as we hit the home stretch to Mania season. And obviously, we will be covering the world of sports as we always do. But also want to make mention too real quick that Ronda Rousey did make her AEW debut on Sunday at Revolution in one of the most shocking moments of the year so far, because none of us had Ronda on our bingo card. And also, shout outs to Hangman Adam Page and MJF for one hell of a Texas staff match on Sunday, just beating the hell out of each other, putting their bodies on the line, and having an incredible match. MJF retaining his title. Overall, AEW Revolution was a really good pay-per-view. If you have not seen it, check it out. Lots of stuff going on. And also, if you celebrate like I know we do yesterday, happy 316 Day, you sons of bitches. Oh, hell yeah. And with that being said, as I wrap this up, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Thank you, Steven, for joining me, and thank you to Joey for being on as well for a few minutes. We appreciate that. Kevin, thank you for joining us in the chat. We appreciate it too, brother. Man, what a great show. And we got through a lot of topics, got through a lot of stuff today. Obviously, like Steve mentioned, there's a lot of stuff going on in wrestling. Obviously, we mentioned about Brock Lesnar, Obafemi. We mentioned about Ronda Rousey. I also want to mention real quick, GCW's building up for spring break. Matt Tremont, after winning this match this past week, will take on Otis Cogar for the Ultraviolet title inside of a 15-foot high steel cage. At spring break, also at spring break, Effie versus Alley Catch. Loser leaves GCW. And also, looks like that Marco Stunt will make one final in-ring appearance. Now, we don't know, like, that's not, obviously official, but more than likely we're going to see Marco Stunt back in the ring one final time at spring break against KJ Orso in some form or fashion, whether it be whether it be a tag team match with him and some other person, maybe even Jungle Boy Jack Perry, maybe against him and Sam Stackhouse. We'll see about that as well. And of course, Tournament of Survival, the bloodiest weekend of the year for GCW, coming up in June. Tickets are on sale now. It's going to be, of course, at the Showboat, the terminal at the Showboat in Atlantic City, New Jersey. June 6th, Tournament of Survival. Then, of course, you also got to watch out for Cage of Survival as well. There's just so much going on out there, so definitely check that out. Once again, check out Too Sweet Cosplay on social media, and also as we get ready for our C2E2 appearance. So check that out as well. But for that, we are out of here. So now for Kevin Rory, for Joey Thornton, for our boy Hijacker Mike, also follow Smoke in the Bay, Smoke NTHABAY for all your cigar needs. For all those guys, for Steven, and for the Sports Show Nation out there who watches, I am Mr. Vickery, and we will see you all next week for another great edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy the sports, enjoy the wrestling, and we will see you all next Tuesday. Same time, same YouTube channel.
Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up.
Thanks for watching this week's feature presentation of our Nation Sports Show.